and research in computer technology. She has penned more than a dozen books and authored 200 scientific publications. She has carried out quite a lot of edification programs, organized, chaired, and published proceedings in many symposia, forums, and workshops. She is also a consultant to various government, industry, academic, public welfare, policy, and judiciary organizations. She has been a pathbreaker and has been honored with numerous awards for excellence in research by several national and international bodies. Currently, Dr. J. Indumadi is the professor at Department of Information Science and Technology and the Faculty of Information and Communication Engineering at Anna University, Chennai. I now invite Professor Dr. Indumadi to deliver the session titled Role of IoTs in Innovation.
I welcome all the participants on board for a dynamic topic which is on the role of IoTs in innovation. Now let us just look at an entrepreneurial journey. There are many lessons which you would have learned from the past few days of your FTP. Now, one or two points I would just like to highlight over here. See, entrepreneurial skills span a range from being innovative and risk-loving to creativity, critical thinking, and the ability to turn ideas into fruitful actions. But in all your entrepreneurial journey, if you just look at it, you can know that one needs is a vision and the ability to identify a need gap and solve for it. So that will be the talk for today. When you pin yourself or when you are trying to pin down onto this particular Internet of Things, as we expand this IoT term, I will try to give you only a drop from the ocean, because right now we are just flooded. I don't say flooded. I think the word very apt will be tsunami. We have been engulfed with a tsunami of innovations in the field of IoT. So I would like to just give you one drop, just to give you a taste of what it is. And there are ample opportunities in this particular thing. So now with that intent and how to identify the gaps which are there, the gaps which I mean to say here, they are problems or they are issues or challenges which you can very well turn into an opportunity if you are able to solve it. And then your entrepreneurial journey kicks off. Now, all of us know we'll have to definitely reach out to our mentors. When you run your ideas past, you can very well go to your teachers, entrepreneurs in your circle and take important decisions based on the suggestions you receive. And you always have to keep your confidence level high. You have to be open to feedback, suggestions, try to learn through the journey, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. But what happens is, think of a omnipresent and ubiquitous, pervasive thing which is there to you to do all this, which will play the role of a mentor, which will play the role of a teacher, which will play the role of a marketing, which will play the role of a consumer or an end user, or it will play the role of a government, whatever it is. Just imagine you have some thing. I say X. X is equal to X is some invariable. Now that X, let me equate it to things. So things, when you talk about this particular thing, you have to find out how you can handle this particular thing. If you are handling it right, it is definitely a seed which can bring you a big banyan tree out of the seed. Or if you are not utilizing the seed, just keep it in your hand and then throw it off on a unfertile land. It is going to be a waste. So IoT is just like that. So in that particular, that thing, T stands for that thing. So what you can do is you can kickstart in IoT at early. Now here to that we will try to see. So here it's a meal in a pill. The Internet of Things promises dramatic changes, but what happens is you have a permanent revolution always, which is, decadent and outmoded. And I feel it is better I can call it as disruptive innovation. Why it is a disruptive innovation? Yes, it had held a promise of new and something different. It had alerted the proven practices to the fact that they too are historical, and in its most successful forms redefines the dreams and abundance of all of us with a longing for stability and status quo. That is the reason why I said it is a disruptive innovation. So it, we can take it like this: it is a role of IoT in a disruptive innovation world, because that is the key. It is by itself a vehicle, as well as it is by itself a thing which is residing on the vehicle. Now you have to be very, very careful when you are talking about the word thing, because what happened was, like, when I say a thing in the sense, Aristotle, no, in his book The Categories, he had given a vivid, universal, comprehensive interpretation of the things that are called as beings. And the categories, he had divided them into 10, like substance, quality, quantity, relation, and so on and on. And among them, he had given the substance which had topped the list a honored position. And what he said was, this particular substance, based on the nature, it will have a soul, and it is an intrinsic mover. That is what he was trying to say. So that is what is equated to the word things. So from there it had originated the categories. So in that particular categories you had the term substance, and it was equated to the things. So exactly why he has said, God alone knows. But the things which you have in IoT, they are actually uh, corporeal, or they are digital, or a virtual unit. They mobilize in space and time, and of course they have a unique identity. If you can have an analogy, yes, of course it's like a thing with a soul. I can equate it as a human with a soul. Not perfect match, but yes, it has its own identification number, it has a name, it has a location address, it has physical attributes, it has virtual personalities, and it uses intelligent interfaces. Yes, now you know the term thing. Who has coined the term IoT? It was Kevin Ashton in 1999. He was the pioneer of the British technology, and he had given the term things. And there is one more thing you have to be aware of. When I say a thing which is coming in the form of a soul, I need to be aware of my whether it is going to make my life easier as a human, or it is going to make it complicated. So I have to look at my whether it is a friend or a foe in that perspective. When I just look at it in the terms of a foe, I have to understand whether it is a real enemy or it's an absolute enemy. This is what Carl Schmitt in his philosophical and political philosophy, he said this. So the absolute enemy normally, they negate your position, question your existence, whereas a real enemy denote your possibility to act. So we can react to challenges and threats. So the absolute enemy always appears on the thresholds to new realities that are being born out of revolutions. That is where we will handle this. Always think of the technology as a double-ended sword, where you can use it for a good purpose as well as for a bad purpose. So when you are going for the techno entrepreneurship, I can say, let me put this particular word, you will have to do a techno entrepreneurship in which you will use the technology of IoT. And as an entrepreneur, you have to ensure it is being used in a proper way, otherwise it will become a different sort. So that's an absolute enemy which you can very well conquer. Then coming to the term, see, this particular term, many people have defined in different languages. I'm not just going to go through all these definitions, but I would like to emphasize a small recap from the history. What do I say is, actually, if you can look at the history, earlier people were communicating with one another for all the arguments. They used to work in teams, and they used to find out how better or how best they can go about a particular thing. Whereas here, what we are trying to do is, as years have passed on or as centuries have passed on, the human, I call it as H to H. From human to human, it has gradually shifted to human to machine. So it was H to M. And now we are living in an era where it is all M to M, where it is machine to machine. So the trending has gone up. Now here, there was one researcher who was talking about the 4 technological enablers for this particular growth or the tsunami wave for us. He said because of the tagging the things, because RFID has used it. Then you have the sensor technology where you have sensing the things. Whereas in smart technology, you have things which can think. And of course, there is a nanotechnology coming up, which is shrinking the thing. So when I say things, which is the heart or which is the brain, I can say it is more of a brain rather than of a heart. This particular thing has to tag, it can sense, it can think, and it can shrink. So that is how it is going on. And that is will be your a smart interconnected network of machines. It can be sensors, it can be vehicles, it can be bicycles, it can be any objects. Now, when you just look at these definitions, there is one particular term at the top which says the future internet. Of course, this is what is going to be coming at the maybe in another 1 or 2 years, you will definitely be engulfed by the next wave, which is called as a future internet rather than the IoT. We'll come back to this term at a later point of time. The other words which you can pick up from the definitions are, it is something which is interacting with one another. That is what we were trying to say, machine to machine or things to things. The next thing which we will have to take up from the definition is a dynamic. They are, of course, they are lively. They are very dynamical. They are capable of adapting. They are operating with one another. Definitely, machine to machine, it has to interact. Then comes a layer of digital connectivity, which always have an existing infrastructure and things. Yes, when I develop a particular IoT, I can just put it in there. It gets into it, diffuses, it fits itself, then it self configures, it self heals, it self charges, does everything. So that is what we try to say about it is a layer of digital connectivity. Now, what we have to do? Yes, having looked at, so first I said you have to concentrate on think. Then I said you will have to focus on to the enemy. Then you will have to think about how to handle this in a better way. So definitely you have to look at from the entrepreneur point of view. So you have an IoT ecosystem. Now the main challenge with the IoT ecosystem and the stakeholders is it has to create a value for individuals and businesses. See, when I say the word value, it differs for different stakeholders. Maybe individuals can perceive the value as improving the quality of life or bringing new experiences. Whereas from the business perspective, I can say it is improving the ROI, which I can say it is return on investment. Maybe it can be translated like saving company money, either directly or either by lowering the cost or indirectly or by improving the efficiency of the existing resources. So it goes. And also the involvement of many stakeholders in the digital value chain, they also create a complicated business models. And what happens is many IoT applications, they limit the impact of the technologies and the applications. So definitely, it is a challenge to all the stakeholders in the ecosystem. They have to identify what are the horizontal needs and opportunities. Definitely the management challenge related to internal organizational goals and the ways to overcome the market maturity issues for the new IoT technologies. Now, when you talk about the digital innovation, which is the IoT here, it's a key enabler. It tries to address the common policies of almost all the nations concerned. But it tries to also enforce us the value creation. What value additionally you can create apart from existing one? Of course, products, process, and then you can create your business models. So let me talk about the first one. When I say product, it is driven by the development of the IoT, the further integration of ICT in almost all types of products and artifacts offers a wide range of opportunities for the growth of new industries, which include your startups, and it transforms all the sectors of the economy. For example, you can talk about the development of markets like your connected car, wearables, smart home appliances. All these are products. And so you can very well understand, already we have cars, already you have appliances in home, already you have many wearables. But think of connected car, they talk to each other, they avoid collision, they avoid accidents. And if there is too much of traffic in a particular road, they intelligently, they decide. It's a smart thing. So it's a smart thing. It takes a decision. It takes an alternate route by itself. You have your driverless car coming out. Then you have the wearables. When people say, for example, the golden age persons, I'm talking about the elderly population. So who need some assistance, they can have a wearable, and this wearable will say check. Say for example, there is a sugar level has to be monitored continuously. If the sugar level goes after eating a sweet or something without the knowledge of the caretaker, it immediately sends an alert and asks them to take care or warn them or take necessary action. Likewise, your home appliances. When you are arriving at home, you need a cup of coffee or you need a breakfast. Everything gets ready. So here you are developing a product which will be able to think, act, and deliver you something which is added. So you have added the value to this product. Next is what you can do is you can find out the process with which automation is there. Then you have the manual, you have the semi. Now you can very well automate things. You can very well automate your or integrate the simulation and data analytics in process and supply chains. For example, you can bring substantial gains in the productivity and resource efficiency over the full cycle from product design to the life cycle management. Or you can very well think about during the corona time, you think about how the supply chain process is being done from the harvesting from the field and up to our table. The entire supply chain process, it can be automated, it can be spoken about, so that can be done. So that is the other opportunity for adding your value to the process. And the third is your business model. You can reshuffle the value chains and you can blur your boundaries between products and services. Like say for example, you have smart connected products. We were talking about your smart cars, connected cars. They come with services and customers adapt to the changing behavior where they say ownership, co-creation and sharing, where you talk about your apps economy. I say you can take a car as a business model. You can pick up a car, you can rent it, or the model has changed. You can keep it for a month as a owner, you can retain it, you can use it, you can pay it. So the models have changed. The co-creation, I create a particular thing and you create another particular thing in which you are good at, and both get merged or fused to be a better product. So that is also, you can have the redefine your business model. So these are the three places where you can very well add the creations. So I think we have discussed sufficient about the other thing from the definition. Now let us just look at, in a nutshell, what we are trying to say. IoT. IoT is anything, anytime, any place connection. Nothing else. You have lot of things. They are all individual, but definitely they speak to each other, like your connected car or your connected wearables or your home appliances which are connected to each other. Likewise. So you have the It can be at any place. Can be adjacent to your PC or in your PC or outside your PC, indoor or outdoor, or on the move or totally out. You don't carry anything. You go to a desert, you go to a hill station, anywhere. It accompanies you, it follows you. And you talk about the connections. Yes, how they are connected. They are connected, but it's a human to human, or it can be human to machine, or it can be completely machine to machine. Here, to be more precise, rather than machine to machine, I say it is thing to thing. That is what T to T. So it can be anything you can do, any sort of a connection. Either you can connect the older ones, or you can connect the current, or you can connect the future ones. Anything can be done. And anytime connection. Forget, it is 24 cross 7 available, and it is available at any millisecond you want it. So that is what, nothing else will be able to service such a purpose. Now, when we were talking about the how large is your IoT market, now this is just a tip of the iceberg, which has been taken. I have taken it from a different source. What it tries to say, I thought this picture will help you understand the hidden opportunity as an entrepreneur to tap and become it. Now, what happens is in 2014, you can see there were only 2 billion connected devices were shipped, but they thought the thing will go for 8 billion by 2020. But right now, it has shooted to more than hundreds of trillions. Just imagine how rapidly from 14 to 20 it has exploded and expanded beyond our imagination, how it has created. So you have to definitely tap this market. As an entrepreneur, you can very well take a decision on this. Now, the developments have major implications, like you were talking about your value co-creation, which involves performing activities together with other partners in the IoT ecosystem, and which will definitely increase the value of your company's offerings. Or even as an entrepreneur, you can start your own thing, you can charge it, you can use it. Now, here we are living in a hyper connected society. You have products and services which are connected with other products. So as a result, what it has led to, you have a new analytics and new services for more effective forecasting, process optimization, and customer service experiences. And the new models, they are able to create experiences which are of very good value. They are unsurpassed. They are very much unsurpassed. Now here you can very well look at the billions of connected devices. This was also a forecast from the earlier ones, but here you can very well see it has crossed the limit. So here you can very well see on this particular side, you have the devices, the semantic technology, cloud platform, edge clouds, all these things coming out, and gradually it is growing and growing. This is just only a snapshot of a very last year. I can say it's a 2020, it's not of 2021. Now, when you talk about the other things, okay, before we pass on to the next one, I want you to remember something. What is an IoT? Now that you have understood the term things, you have understood the term internet. Yes, internet is the connection, which is connected things, connected devices. Okay. So now what all we have to remember? Yes, it is a dynamic global network infrastructure, because you have a internet there. It is dynamic, it's global. Then it has self-configuring capabilities. It can configure on its own. I told you about diffuse. Just throw it or plug and play. It will automatically run. So, like you buy a mobile phone and then you put a SIM card of a particular service provider, you are immediately joining into the network and then you can do it. It automatically configures the location unless you have given any privacy settings. So it self-configures. Similarly, here also it self-configures. Then it is based on standard and interoperable communication protocols, because it is already, we are taking it as a value added, creating. So it is using the existing standard and interoperable communication protocols, where we talk about things which are physical or they can be virtual. Physical, I can talk about your sensor, your actuators, and things like that. Whereas when I say it's a virtual, I can think about a small piece of code I can talk about. And they have identities, they have physical attributes and virtual personalities. And of course, they use intelligent interfaces. They are seamlessly integrated into the information network. This is the most popular thing about, or the popular whatever is, I'll just repeat it. It's a dynamic global network infrastructure with self-configuring capabilities based on standard and interoperable communication protocols, where physical and virtual things have identities, physical attributes, and virtual personalities, and use intelligent interfaces and are seamlessly integrated into the information network. So here, I have to understand what is the scope of IoT. It is not only things. It can be any machines, any appliances, or any device which will also in that particular context will be taken or considered equivalent to a thing. And what it does, it tries to communicate and exchange data. No, data can be for control or for information seeking. So that is why we are able to connect even the other things. So it is, the scope is not limited. Next is, you have to understand the term what is meant by a future internet. Now we were talking about this future internet a few minutes back. I said IoT is just only a part of the future internet. You can very well see here this particular IOM is there. Then you have the iOS and you have the IoE. Now here, it is none other than, it is, future internet is constructed on the standard communication protocol by integrating your computer networks, internet of media, internet of services, internet of things into a common universal IT platform of seamless networks and networked things. And here you have the IoE, which is none other than, it is the internet of everything, where you will be able to represent the open access to data from one or more monitoring or controlling systems by third-party applications, which provide you the unique additional value to the stakeholders. It does everything. And this IoE term can also be equated to your Internet of Enterprises. I feel this term will be more apt if it is used as Internet of Entrepreneurs. Anyway, so we have understood the characteristics also, like it's dynamic, self-adapting, heterogeneous, intelligent, interconnected, safe, they are self-configuring, they have an identity, and all those things. Yes, of course, we have finished with all those ideas. Let us look at what are the technologies which have put all these looming opportunities in front of us. There are several technologies. If you think in terms of the business technology, you have the data mining, data warehousing, semantic, RDF, OWL, and so on. From the application technology, you can think of smart agriculture, smart grid, smart homes, shipping, and so on. Then from the middleware point, you can either think of fog and cloud platforms like Google Cloud, ThinkWorks, then you can Hadoop, and so on. Or you can think of data processing mechanisms like Query, Apache, Hadoop, Spark, RDF, OWL, and so on. Data storage also plays a very vital role in your middleware, which talks about MongoDB, Cassandra, then CouchDB, and so on. Then OS, you can think of TinyOS, or you can think of Android, and you can very well go for the networking technologies which are fired because of the, I don't say fired, it is enabled. Wireless communication technologies like your Wi-Fi, LTE, Li-Fi, light and fidelity, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, RFID, and so on. And of course, all these sensors. So these are the things. And moreover, you should remember why why it is very easy for us among all the existing fields today. When you are a techno entrepreneur in an IoT domain, or I don't say IoT domain, in the field of IoT, it is very, very easy for you to become an entrepreneur. Uh, that thing is very short, very easily, because you can create the, how to, why do I say this? Because you can unlock the massive potential of IoT, because it can create your innovative services, it can improve the performance, of course it can manage your and create a new revenue stream for you, it can reduce your operation overheads, it can reduce the startup cost, it will have a lower time to market your product, and you will have lot of reusable assets, and even you can scale your business as it grows. These are the key things which had lot of entrepreneurs looming these opportunities in the market. Now this is just only a window of the opportunities. Many people have become entrepreneurs by looming these opportunities only, because as I told you, the potential is very, very vast. Not only that, it has um, the safety is taken into consideration, and it is dynamic, it is self-adapting, it can be integrated into information networks, it is context aware, it has an intelligent decision making, and it is having a unique identity. These are all certain things which will leverage your techno entrepreneurship in this particular field of innovation. Of course, you can very well see there are many IoT application domains on the screen. Let me put it like this. Apart from what you see in the screen, like consumer, retail, medical, military, industrial, automotive, environmental, and agriculture, even you have the aerospace and aviation, you have your telecommunications, you have your intelligent buildings, you have healthcare, then you have independent living, then you have retail, supply chain management, oil and gas, environmental monitoring, food traceability, media, entertainment and ticketing, recycling, agriculture, of course, and breeding also comes into this picture. And one more thing which will also help you is you can combine this particular IoT with other technologies like your cloud, which can give you a sensing as a service. For example, on the cloud, you can store something on the cloud, you can retrieve it. So that is also one more thing. And if you want to create a intelligent thing, what you can do is you can incorporate your artificial intelligence, where you can produce a thing which will have a self-configuring capability, self-optimizing capability, self-protecting capability, and self-healing capability. Then it will definitely help you in bringing out green IoT technologies also, because all of us are trying to go more and more because of the global warming and things. So definitely we are not only leveraging the business or the economy of our country, we are also in turn for the future generation with the green IoT technologies also you are able to do it. And one more thing I felt like mentioning at this juncture because of this medical. Now you might be wondering what happened after this COVID. The post-COVID impact on IoT, it has nothing to do. It has, of course, boosted this industry. That is has come as a major outcome from the COVID impact. Now you might be wondering, like the cost, capital expenditure has reduced, uh, and the better business transparency was given because of this particular thing. um, Cost expenditure because of this IoT, the oil companies, like say for example, Excon, they have reduced their capital expenditure by 30% already because they have related to technology low investments such as new oil rigs. So which they felt it was expected, non-necessary, so that they saw it a cut. So the cost expenditure had reduced. Better business transparency because the tableau was used over here, so that a particular app, how much it is able to climb, what is the inability to visit some physical sites, so that you are not able to go to your manufacturing site where a plant is automated. Yes, of course, you had a business transparency. All the stakeholders were able to view it. It is not only from the manufacturing up to the marketing or up to the consumer. Everyone had a very good transparency during that particular period. Then the process had become more and more automated during the COVID time, because you could have seen automation accelerated our recovery and protection from the hospitals, cleaning, automated warehouses, and things like that. They were able to do everything from a social distancing, as well as because there's automation, they were able to keep the COVID at bay. When you talk about supply chains and manufacturing capacity, by that also had become flexible and resilient during this time, because you had multiple suppliers and the supply locations, and they were able to operate with the operational expenditure was able to cut down for that particular quarter also, because organization no, the transportation was not possible, and they had to approach the nearer ones, so that everything was very very possible because it was there. But of course it also had its downside, the other side of the coin. uh, Many people earlier were trying to use consumer, more and more newcomers were entering, new consumers were entering into the market. Right now there has been a lull period. I don't say there is a decrease, there is a it's the status is maintained, so that is there. But remote asset access has become important, because right now we are using the conference tools like Zoom, or we are using Teams, all these things. So remote asset access, I'm sitting here, you are sitting elsewhere, we are able to share our knowledge, so that asset assets can be shared. Maybe you want a cloud which can be accessed, so that can be done. Say for example, a remote diagnostics is required, that can be used. There is a Libri stream, no, that is also there. And ProSoft technology, so that is a company which was using with the IoT analytics. They were also able to give and connect and give a remote access solution to the companies as far as the PLCs are concerned. Then of course you have the digital twins. Digital twins will come at a later stage. Then next is the use of drones. All of you know IoT is nothing but when a drone, you combine a drone with the IoT, it's an unmanned aerial vehicle. This unmanned aerial vehicle, when you combine with this particular IoT, they are called as flying IoT. Now, flying IoT, you know what all wonders it has worked. It has been used for spraying, say, for example, in the agricultural field, and it has been used for disinfectant sprayers. Many small robots have been done. The Hawaii company also has done 2,600 sprayers. They have disinfectant sprayers they have released during 1 month. And for broadcasting messages and for spreading information, for surveillance, for monitoring, for delivering foods, for disaster management, where humans could not go, or from sending from one place to the other, everything. This flying IoTs were doing. Only thing is you will have to think how to apply it. It can be like a robot which can disinfect and clean the hospital, or it can remotely monitor. It was used for even picking up certain parameters from the patients and informing the doctor who sits in one location and monitors patients around the city. So that way also it had worked out. So you might be wondering what are the technologies take off. like work from home, infrastructure, collaboration tools, VPN networking, desktop support, then all these things are leveraging the uh, use of IoT among the people. But always never ever forget certain things which we will have to take care, which I will come back at a later stage at the end of the session. Of course, it's a double sword. You also have to look for problems like privacy and problems like security, where hackers can damage the entire objective of what you have built with. Okay, so that is it. We'll go to the details at a later stage. Now, having discussed elaborately about the applications and the opportunities which were lying in ahead of us, now that was for the end user marketing or from the business side. But from the technology side, you also have to understand the design principles and the services which are offered. Of course, whenever you design a particular IoT, whether you design an IoT or you design an Internet of Everything or Internet of Media or whatever it is, the future Internet, let me put it like this. Whatever it is, understand the capital expenditure you always have to keep low, operational expenditure you have to keep low, and it has to be foolproof, and it has to be energy efficient, and it has to be using the spectrum flexibly. So all these things it has to cover, it has to be reliable, it has to be mobilizable, and more, so that more and more players are entering, or more and more end users are entering into the scene. So that will be your related key process indicators which is required. Now, before going into this particular part, I would like to say a few more things on yes, of course, when you go in, we will have to deal a lot with the technology part. Before that, I would like to mention a few more things which will help you in understanding the different business models. IoT is actually bridging physical, digital, cyber, and virtual worlds. So definitely it has a digital shadow of these real things. And we were talking about the verticals. And here you also look at the IoT technologies, which are the key enablers of the digital single market, which will have a potentially significant impact on the creation of jobs and growth, along with providing opportunities for all the stakeholders in deploying and commercializing the technology and application. So it is not only for you, it is also for the others. You will be able to employ more and more number of people. And another thing you should never forget is this concept. It's a paradigm with different visions. Multidisciplinary activities will be required. And it considers a pervasive presence in the environment, which through wireless or wired connections or unique addressing schemes are able to interact with each other and cooperate with the other things to create a new application. You have to understand everything, the communication protocol, devices, or internet technology, people, or everything is ultimately converging to business innovation. This business innovation, always keep in your mind, as I've told you, the other bad end of the sword, security, privacy, and trust implications are always there. But this also can be turned into an opportunity. So that is one thing which has to be mentioned. And another point is you have to understand there is a large heterogeneous systems are there. So a lot of technological challenges will be there, of course. So that also you need to tackle it. And okay, one more thing which we were talking about, value added. We were talking about value addition. No? Think about something like your traditional and the current trend sets. Unlike the traditional uh, mindsets, the IoT entrepreneur has to have a different set of mind for value creating in terms of customer needs, in terms of offering, in terms of what the data is going to play a role. In case it's a customer need, they have to address the real-time and emergent needs in a predictive manner. Only then this IoT will be very good. For value creation in terms of offering, of course, the product has to refresh through over-the-air updates and it should add a synergy value. And look at the data point, how you can create a value. Of course, information is converging in one place. So definitely, like all our COVID data is collected onto several common servers where all the researchers around the world are able to log in, find out what are the different fields they are able to contribute. So that the role of data that is created only because of the IoT. Not only value addition, now we saw value creation. Another thing also you have to remember when you are looking at your challenge, value capture. How you are going to capture value? Now you might be wondering why, what we are going to capture value in here from this particular challenge. Of course, it's an opportunity, as I told you. See, the path to profit is in the earlier stages, you have to sell a product, only then you will be able to get a profit. But right now, when you are everything is set and it is executed or implemented, it enables a recurring revenue for you. So definitely the value which you have captured will be paths to profit. The second value capture can be thought in terms of control points. See, in earlier cases, we will have the commodity advantages and there will be brands, only people will go to that particular brand and things like that. But right now it is not like that. The value capturing control point will be something like you can add personalization and you can add the context and you can have a network effect between the products. So of course that is possible over here. So that is another point of value capture. And the third point when I say how to capture value is, in the earlier ones, you have the core competencies only and the existing resources will be there, they will be processed. Only with the help of that only you will be able to develop something. But right now it is not like that. Only thing is you will have to understand how other ecosystem partners are making money and how you can make money from the own thing what you are innovating or you are developing. So please always let me give a small recap. When you're talking about the innovation of IoT, it is Internet of Things. You have to bear in your mind what is meant by a thing. Then you have to mind what is meant by internet. The combo gets you the Internet of Things. Then you imagine what is your future internet. So you have a very good landscape. So here, if you have to be a techno entrepreneur, what you have to do is, first and foremost, you have to think in terms of how you can add value to the existing ones. So for that, we had discussed a lot of things. The second point was we were trying to look at how values can be created unlike the earlier ones. Then we were trying to look at how value can be captured so that it can be recurringly, you can get a profit, you can add a personalization controlling point so that no one sticks on to a particular brand. And money making is very, very easy in this particular scenario. So this is what, and when we think in terms of IoT, you can think of two things. The change of focus from viewing the IoT as a technology platform to viewing it as a business ecosystem. See, that is why I was saying, look at the IoT ecosystem. See, they are inseparable right now. Earlier, only technology people will be able to master it. Right now, it is not like that. Anyone with a reasonable amount of knowledge, they can handle this IoT technology from a business point of view. So it becomes a business ecosystem. Not only that, this shift from focusing on the business model to designing the ecosystem business models is also possible. So here you have the value pillars. Then you also have to keep in mind the other challenges which will come for you, like diversity of things will be there. Of course, when you are designing business models for your IoT, you will encounter with multitude heterogeneity of connected things and devices, and also they will never ever till now have a accepted standards. But still, you have to connect to them, and then as the standardization is completed, you have to update or patch your things. See, you have designed, let us imagine you have designed a sensor. The sensor is going to collect the rainwater fall in a particular desert. You have just put it in a Thar desert, and you are here sitting in India, sitting here and then trying to monitor or collect the data from that particular location. And you feel that this is outdated or something. Of course, under the assumption there is an internet connectivity between the two locations. Now, in case you need something to be updated, the software you have to update, you can very well transmit it through the net, and then you can update it. So it has to, maybe when a new application has been developed with the current or complying with the current standards, of course, then you have to update it. Then next is immaturity of innovation. As I told you, you have large products and services which are there in the market. They are neither standardized, they are neither modularized for large scale usage, and it is all the plug and play. So it is very, very difficult. You have to be very, very tactful in handling the immaturity of this innovation. So here you can very well look at your customers from their perspective. Like there will be people like early adopters, early or majority adopters, or late majority adopters, or even laggards will be there. So you find out where you and your end user or your customer is in. Of course, the third challenge will be your unstructured ecosystem. When you have an unstructured ecosystem, you will never ever understand what is the structure, what is the governance, who are the stakeholder roles, what are the value creating logics, and lack of appropriate and the required stakeholders in the emerging ecosystem. So that is one other confusion in that particular area which you will have to take care. So you can think of a business model from 4 dimensions. You have to understand um, who is your customer or who is your target customer. Then what do we offer to the customer? How do we deliver our goods and services? And how do we achieve the value? So when I say who is your target customer and what do you offer to your customer, that can be thought in terms of value proposition. Whereas who is your customer and how you are going to deliver, that can be your value chain. Between who is your customer and what value you are going to give or achieve, that will be your revenue model. So these are the dimensions which you have to look at. And another thing is you will have to look at the partners. You will definitely have distributors, logistics service partners, customers, software developers, hardware producers. They will all be your key partners. Then looking at from the customer point, you can think in terms of customer segments. You can think about mass marketing, niche marketing, segmented marketing, diversified marketing, and multi-sided platforms you can think of. And what sort of relationship you can think with your customer, like personal assistance, dedicated assistance, self-service, automated service, communities, and co-creation. That these will be the relationships which you can have with your customers. Here, what are your key resources? Physical resource, employee capability, intellectual property, financial resources, software, and relations. They will be your key resources. What are the value propositions which you can offer to your customer? Convenience, like you use your Paytm or something, no? You pay at your convenience. Usability, risk reduction, accessibility, cost reduction, getting the jobs done, customization, newness, performance, and so on. So, and what are the revenue streams you can think of? You can think of usage fee, subscription fee, lending, renting, leasing, licensing, brokerage, startup fees, installation fees, and advertising. So all these entire thing contributes to your landscape. Now, having understood the drivers of IoT growth like your edge computing, wireless connectivity cost, application deployments, cloud-based software, sensor or actuator, microcontroller price and performance. Now you have to focus on to your what to say like the technology part. Where is that particular gap lies in? So this is where we have lot of gaps. So here, when I talk about the gaps, of course, you have the IoT architecture. So when your IoT architecture, when you think in terms of your, what do I say? Um, okay, see, in the following slides, it will be like this. I have divided them into three columns. One is up to 2019 or up to 2020, what is the status of the technology. So the enabling technologies we will speak in terms of every slide will be of one enabling technology. And in every slide, you will have three columns. One will be up to the past, what all had happened or what all research or what all innovations had happened and what currently it is going through and what in the future is no one has touched. Current, some things are, some innovations are going on, some things are getting marketed. So we will be just looking at that particular perspective. Now, in all your particular thing, no, when you talk about an architecture, you have up to the last. I'm not talking about it. Of course, it had placed interoperability is one particular term which I would like to mention over here. This is one particular term. It is still, it is evergreen problem which is going on. Now, you have to definitely have an adaptive. Whatever you innovate or whatever you design, whatever you are able to bring, it should be adaptive, because as I told you, you have an unstructured landscape. You have it is not complying and it is not with the standards, and it is a very very new booming field. So of course it has to be adaptive to anything, because only then it will be able to fit into the global context. So this particular IoT in innovation, it has forced everything to become adaptive. Whatever it is, not only IoT, anything, whatever you do, it has to adapt, even ourselves. Similarly, then it has to fit into that particular context where it is getting placed. Like how we are fitted into a particular place, we play that particular, understand that particular scenario, and we do our work. So likewise, it has to be done. And when you talk about the next one, which is in the current, the self properties, as I told you, self-configuring, self-healing, everything it has to do on its own. There will not be anyone to help it or any manual inter, because it's all machine to machine. It's all thing to thing. So of course it has to do everything on its own. So when you are doing it at innovations, they have forced all the things to be done like this. So these are the areas where current technology has focused. Whereas the cognitive architecture, you think in terms of all, in terms of behavior, based on the behaviors, based on the moods, based on the end user mindset. Accordingly, it has to do the work. So that is one unexplored or untouched area where lot of things can drive. The innovation is being driven in this particular cognitive as well as this thing also has its place. Next, you have the experiential architectures, which also has its very good place. So the research, not only the research people, you can think about the business concepts, data, documents like your purchase order, shipping notice, then process workflow, everything, no? They have to find and bind. It is something like they have to say, for example, you have devised a particular thing where you have a paradigm principle like publish, find, and bind. You do something, you publish it, it has to go and find out in which context it will be better fit, and then it has to bind over there. So that sort of a principle is also being adopted in your future architectures. So that is another major play over here. Next, when you think in terms of hardware, up to the past, you can see like RFID tags, sensor, near field communication in your mobile phones, maps technology, and a low cost tag like your silent tags are there. But in the current, you can very well see there are smart sensors which are biochemical, and these sensors or actuators you have, they are also tiny sensor. Why do I go for a biochemical? I need not carry something. I can just give a shot. One drop can be injected into it. It's just a biochemical which will be adopted or which will be not a foreign thing to the body. Human body, you can inject it. So smart sensors can be, so they are focusing, lot of innovations are there in this particular area, and how to administer that is also another area which has been driven over there. Actuators, how it reacts to the, like you have your sensory nerves and your motor nerves. Sensory nerve senses all your sight, smell, and taste, and so on. Actuator is something like when you withdraw, when you are encountering a fire, you withdraw your hand from the flame. So like that, you have actuators. So these actuators are also, they are focusing on how to operate it. So that innovation is there. So nano, of course, the future looks for all shrinking. Because I said no in the beginning, you have four things. One is a thinking, shrinking, and intelligently doing it. So here, that thing you have to shrink. So it's a nanotechnology, even new materials are being adopted. So you have to develop a cheap, non-toxic, even disposable, you can think of uh, doing it, elements. Like you can think of silicon IC technology, you can think of, or you can also think of something which will generate low power, which will require low ultra power, ultra low power, low voltage, low leakage designs like CMOS, then RF. So all these things you can very well do. Now this reminds me of one case study which I can tell you. The early warning system. IoT early warning system is there where it has been used for the COVID-19. So this particular IoT, when it has been used in that particular locality, it was trying to give them and say, this is a cluster which has formed here. It alerts there is a possibility of an outbreak over here. So this has been proven. It has been very effectively managed. It was able to help it. So the one particular app I can talk about, the WI Shelter. No, they were able to measure temperature and they were able to give you the geolocation of the targeted quarantines, and they were helping to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus. So that was also possible. This early warning system. That was possible only because of this particular hardware, what you have seen over here. Next is your material technology. When you think about your material technology, you have the, what do I say right now? See, when I say a material, with what material they have built it? Silicon, aluminium, then GAN, everything they have used up till now. Copper, everything. But the future is looking for some material which you can design, or even which you can prepare, like your quick sand which has replaced the riverbed sand. So like that, they are looking for some material technology innovations, and it has already, they have started using the diamond in place of, for precision, for accuracy, especially when you talk in terms of the healthcare, no? So there they are using it. Also, they are looking for flexible substrates, conducting polymers, and conducting ink, modular manufacturing techniques where carbon nanotubes can be used. All these things, what they are trying to do is they are trying to look at a material which will be able to withstand extreme temperatures or extreme handling. Even if you handle it roughly without a delicate, or even a lay person can handle it without a professional's or an expert supervision. So they are trying to find out a device. Now, when you think about the RFID tags in your car when you pass through the toll, you are looking at a particular tag. At times, you would have encountered at the juncture of the toll, sometimes the tag will not be readable. So they are looking at certain materials. When you are coming away even from 1 furlong distance, or even 100 meters, it will be able to sense the material. Yes, this car or this vehicle has been attached with this particular bank account. It has to reduce this much because it is flying on one side, a single way. So it can attach, and it need not wait there for the thing to be read, and it passes very quickly. So that is the material with which they are trying to develop. Next is your identifying technology. Now, when I say the identifying technology, first and foremost, you have to remember all of us have identities. Why do we have an identity? I have an identifier. I am a particular professor, or I belong to an the identity technology with which we are able to enroll, or we are able to come into the Zoom. You have your own identity, and with that identity only you have come in. And of course, in a larger scale, we talk in terms of the Aadhaar card in the country, or you talk about social security number in any other country. We have identifiers. We are identifiable. Though one name can be among 2 or 3 people, but of course, there will be some mechanism by which you will have a unique identity, like your Aadhaar card or some number. Okay. So that number, it need not be a numeric, it can be alphanumeric or whatever it is. I'm not going into those schemas. Of course, you have to look at the constraints which are there. Now, there are a variety of identification schemes. But what you have to do is you will have to have a good mapping and resolution identification scheme which can handle any extreme situation. And it has to protect your, not only your uniqueness, which will be in a larger context, it has to be used, or the identification scheme can be extended with the additional pattern within the wide scope, or the identification scheme can be mapped with a collision free manner. And of course, it has to be secure. No one, it should be tamper proof, and it should be able to preserve privacy and protect the data, and so on and so on. Now, this particular identity management or identity technology by itself is a very vast field which are expecting lot of entrepreneurs in it. Those who can innovate and those who can boost the thing. So earlier up to that, you can see there are different schemes like domain-specific IDs, ISO, naming bodies are there, URIs, open framework, unified framework, everything. But currently, you can see the identity management has reached a stage where, of course, lot of entrepreneurs are expected, lot of innovation is expected, how to manage the identity, looking or keeping into the privacy and the security context. So, of course, the future is thinking about finding a DNA for a thing, how to relate a particular DNA, like we are able to identify, people. So, like that, they are trying to find out technologies. The next thing is you are trying to look at the network technology. The network technology, I said it is an internet. Of course, internet, you have to have a vision of reaching out to all the objects in the physical world and bringing them into the internet. Of course, a lot of technologies like sensor, self-aware, self-organizing, sensor network, location transparency, all are there. But currently we are focusing on to network context awareness. So you are trying to find out how aware it is for that particular context, in which scenario, whether it is in a, the same thing can be used in a different fashion in a healthcare and in an entertainment industry. Maybe the structure, the innovation, the logic behind everything will be the same. But how it is used in that particular context, they differ from one another. So network context awareness is there. And network cognition, the behavior of among them. In case there is a problem, there is a conflict among them, how to resolve? You need not, because you are automating. So you cannot resolve going and seeing in a remote location. So they have to learn the behavior, they have to self-learn, they have to self-repair. So in this particular thing also, you should be able to find out a patch which can be sent, an app which can be sent, or a device which will be able, you can innovate in that particular thing, or many innovations are also being done in this particular area. Next is you also look at in terms of the network discovery. In the network discovery, because you have things which are featuring varying degrees of autonomy and dynamic change of the network is there. So definitely you also have to look at the how network can be discovered. So that is the discovery mechanisms also you have to think about it. Then likewise, you have to think about relationships, like how to propagate the memes by things, how to identify, how to have a reputation management, all has to be tackled. Next, we come to that particular thing of software. Now, in terms of software and algorithms, you can very well see lot of things are there. Um, of course, we require a common software fabric. How the software can act in different environments. It has to be combined with the functioning into a composite system, and how to build a coherent application. That also you have to think of. Now here, in this particular thing, up to the last, you can see there are sensor middleware, proximity localization algorithms, RDBMS, and all those things there. Currently, they are looking at when you give a goal, it has to work on its own. It has to achieve that goal, whatever or how many ever tries it has to make. Then problem solving, it has to be incorporated into it. That is where you have the analytics. I go for a particular movie. I just want to check whether there are seats which are available in the last row of the theater. I can solve it. Or I want to admit a person in a hospital. I will need to find out what is the doctor's availability, the specialized and the bed availability. It has to solve the problem, and it has to come up with a different intelligence. And that intelligence should not be in one place. It has to be distributed. And they have to collaborate. So these are the areas which currently, I say partially, it is only in infancy stage here. The future, we are thinking about completely user-oriented software. It is something like, see, I require this. This is it's a customized. I require this. I am least bothered about what others are going to do with my app. So the software or the algorithm, it has to devise on its own, and it has to be easily deployable, and it has to interact. It has to make its own decision. I need this. That is it. And of course, the invisible IoT is also expected. IoT here, it is completely with the software we are thinking of. Next is your communication technological needs. When you talk about your communication technological needs, you think about the up to the last you have in the first column, the current and the future we are talking about. Now here you can see the issues to be addressed will be, you talk about your software defined networks, the cognitive radios, the energy efficient communications, and what is the communication spectrum, how is the frequency getting allocated over there. So all these things you will have to take care. Of course, we require, when it has to go global, we have to think of a unified protocol over the wide spectrum. Next is your discovery and search engine, where it has to discover on its own, like automatically it has to route the tag and identify the centers. Then everything has to be with the autonomously it has to do, and along with the behavior. So it's a search engine, discovery and search engine technology. Now this is completely with your signal processing. So here it has to go with the context awareness, and it has to go with the cognitive processing and optimization. And this is another big field where lot of opportunities are available. Now here in this particular thing, when you talk about the power and energy storage, you have to have things which are autonomous, they sense and monitor. And what you have to do is you will have to have a micro battery, but that battery should be able to have energy which can withstand for a longer period. Now there can be, you can't, you can, of course, you would have seen the satellite launch. Only a small vehicle will be launched in space. But you can very well see the fuel is being carried in such big ones, which are like a tail. So you can't do that with your IoTs. So definitely you have to think about some power and energy storage technology. So you can look at some energy scavenging technology or energy harvesting technology. So here the power generation, even from the harsh environment or even from the uh, what to say, wind, air, or from the elements of the earth, you can harvest. And even from our own body, it can take the heat or the vibration. Like you have your watches, no? When you shake your hand, the earlier watches which had in batteries, they will vibrate and they will have it energized. It will start running or ticking. Then you have to think of some biodegradable batteries with the this biodegradable. After a particular period, it has to degrade. So you can't be harsh to your environment. So please do that device. Then nano power. So within a small thing, the processing unit has to be very well, beautifully embedded. And of course, you have security and privacy. This is another big area which requires a lot of skill over there to how to automate. But you can create an awareness. So the thing to be focused over here is self-adaptive security mechanisms and privacy mechanisms and protocols, which are of much demand. So here also you can very well divide. And we were talking about the IoT analytics, no? So IoT analytics is also another particular thing where you can think about understanding the human behavior or the customer behavior, deliver the services, improve the product, and identify and intercept business moments and so on. So that can be done. Now, I can just tell you something what IoT has driven when we are talking about this analytics point. When you talk about the analytics point, you have the Amazon. Let us talk about different business models. Now, in the different business model, you have an Amazon combination. Amazon combination has actually 8 different business models which are combined. One is the affiliation model, where things are the new customer or a new party gets affiliated. The next is a cash machine concept, where the customer pays upfront for the products which are sold and the associated expenses. So that is another model. Then e-commerce, all of you know. Then leverage the customer data, where the center of this pattern collect the customer information and use it for generating the profit. Long tail, another model in Amazon. Instead of concentrating on the blockbuster products, what you do is the main income is normally generated by a part which consists of a long tail of niche products. So you focus on to that. So that also gives you a small profit. It will create a lucrative sum. Then make more of it. So like you have multiply skills which are outside the core business, where expertise is being used not only for production but also to the other companies. The form as external service. Then user design. So what you can do is the customer is both the manufacturer as well as the consumer. So you can take undertaking from them and ask them to share their creative ideas with you. So that way, user designed also you can improve the market. And a two-sided market facilitates. So that is also there, where you have multiple interdependent group of customers. So there all that also can be encouraged. So all these things like two-sided market, user design, make more of it, long tail, leverage customer data, e-commerce, cash machine, and affiliation. They are all combination of your Amazon store combination. That is one business model in IoT. The second business model which can be used in the IoT innovation is IKEA combination. IKEA combination, all of you know, it is a mixture of cross-selling, experience selling, and self-service. Next is a Dell combination where we have 5 business model in the Dell combination, like your cash machine, direct selling, e-commerce, from push to pull, mass customization, and so on. And there is another model known as the Google combination, which is also because of this innovation, this IoT innovation, where you have the auction, hidden revenue, and leveraging your customer data, pay per use, and two-sided marketing. And one more model which can be brought down at this point is car sharing. In a car sharing, we normally use a pay per use or rent instead of buy, self-service, and so on. So like this, you have lot of business model families which are there. And if you look at the product value creation, you can think about models like your razor and blades, where you have, it's easy to attract the customers for low entry price and steady income due to consumables. Like you have the Gillette and the printers and the video consoles, which they use this particular scheme. And you also have the inverting razor and blade scheme for attracting. So where Apple, so even they have an expensive hardware, but they have a free software. So they have unlimited free updates. So that is inventing. Then you have the subscription model. I think all of you understand what is a subscription model. Then there is a third party revenue model where the user does not have to pay for the asset, but someone else will be paying for it. Then product as a service will be linked with what you are able to use it. Then for the service, value added service. For the value added service, you will be looking at licensing and supporting. So these are all different models which are helping us to innovate. Now here in front of you, I have just shown you something. This is a particular IoT. Lot of people are thronging a place of worship and they are lost in the crowd, and everyone is fitted with a mobile phone or they have their own sensors which are stuck to their body, so they will be able to understand what is the health, what is their health, where they are located, how they can be constantly communicated with their family members, so that everyone has a peace of mind. And not only that, they will not lose their way, and they will also have a new resource of revenue stream, because when they are able to give a feedback or a review on a particular thing, they will in fact they will get a 20% or a 10% or a gift voucher or whatever it is. So this is one particular example which I thought I can show you. And there are a lot more examples. You have the smart textiles where you can wear a dress, forget about getting infected. It takes care on its own. It alerts your caretaker or it alerts your doctor or it warns you. Everything. All lot of innovations. Only thing is just think out of the box and think exactly in that particular context. Now, this is one slide which I promised to tell you at the last, which is a digital twin, which is coming out. Now, this digital twin concept, all of you know, there is a virtual world and there is a physical world. From the physical world, you imitate or mimic everything or simulate onto the virtual world. And there you try to do all your, whatever you feel like, whatever testing or calibrating or configuring, whatever it is. You try everything on the virtual world. And from the virtual world, you try controlling the digital world. Hence, it gets the name of twins, digital twin. So this digital twin has started getting seamlessly merged, or seamlessly it is getting fused with IoT. So this is also very big. In my perspective, this is going to be another one major breakthrough, IoT with that. So these are some of the possibilities in the next 5 years. All of us know there are a lot of solutions, but the solutions also has its own problem of security and privacy. and the market is embryonic, but everywhere it is going to engulf us. So definitely we need to have a better, best product. So try with all these possibilities. Any questions?
Yes, thank you, Professor Indumati. Participants, if you have any questions or queries, you can unmute yourselves. The session speaker will be answering your queries. Do you have any questions from the participants?